I think distance running is probably really good for you, and I think gooning is really bad for you. Like probably both physically and mentally as well as spiritually. So
I mean, humans evolved to be distance hunters. They did not evolve to be chronic gooners.
To be gooners.
Ultra gooners.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Our Hero De Niro, the only podcast watching and recapping Robert De Niro's entire filmography in random order. I'm Mike, joined as ever by my co-host, Mike.
No relation.
No relation indeed. And today we are here to discuss the 2016 biographical sports film, Hands of Stone, directed and written by Jonathan Jakubowicz and starring Robert De Niro. Mike, have you ever heard of this film before we rolled it last week?
No, I had not. Had you?
No, I had not. And I'm not surprised to have not heard of it because it had a pretty poor reception and an exceptionally poor box office performance. This film had a budget of $20 million, but only grossed $5 million at the box office. And it has a 44 on Rotten Tomatoes based on 106 reviews. So this isn't like a 44 and only like 15 or 20 critics watched it. It's like all of the critics watched it and they all thought it was bad.
I wish they would add us to Rotten Tomatoes. Then it would be out of 108 critics. And, we'll see where we land. Yeah. That'd be great. I'd love to be a thought leader in that space.
What else is there to really say about this film? So it also stars Edgar Ramirez and Usher. I thought he was quite nice in the film, honestly. Along with... who else did I want to mention? Ellen Barkin of This Boy's Life fame. And Ana de Armas and John Turturro. Nobody else really made an impression on me. Do you care about mentioning any of these other actors?
No, but I think that in the way that you highlighted Ellen Barkin's participation in This Boy's Life, previously covered on Our Hero De Niro, I have to highlight Edgar Ramirez, was previously featured in Joy, the David O. Russell film that we...
You're right. He was the husband. I totally forgot. Yeah. Okay. Yep.
It presents me with another wonderful opportunity to share that one clip from the trailer of the really terrible Point Break remake from 2015, where he says one of my favorite lines ever that didn't actually make it into the film. The only law that matters is gravity.
Bodhi, do you have any idea how many people you've killed? How many laws you've broken?
The only law that matters is gravity.
It's really funny that it's not in the movie.
Oh, it's really sad.
Such a bad movie.
Really terrible movie.
Edgar Ramirez he's a great actor. He's good in this film.
Yeah, got to give it to him. Guy had hands of stone.
Yep.
Did you say what this film is about?
He really, really did. No. So this film is about the career of Panamanian former professional boxer Roberto Duran, who I'd never heard of before I watched this film. Had you?
No. I mean, do you know anything about boxing?
No, but it's always, it is something I guess that I kind of enjoy about doing the podcast. When I do an episode like this that's about something that I couldn't give less of a fuck about, like I can take a little bit of solace in just how it reminds you of, the unspeakable depth and beauty of the world, right? Like it's like I feel like I have surface knowledge about so many topics. And when I encounter something where there is apparently somebody this famous who I've never fucking heard of and could not tell you a single thing about, but this guy sounds like a pretty big deal. I assume everybody who cares about boxing knows who this person is. Like, it's kind of beautiful. It's humbling.
I really wish that they would re-release the film in theaters or on Criterion Collection Blu-ray so that we could put a pull quote from you that says, quote, reminds you of the unspeakable beauty and depth of the universe, end quote, Mike the Fab.
You don't think they'll want to highlight, I couldn't give less of a fuck about this?
I really don't know anything about boxing either, but this film did reignite my latent desire to do a charity boxing match against you at some point in this podcast.
It really did not for me.
Oh, really?
But sure. If we do it, we'll do it. I don't know. You have anything you want to say about this?
No, I mean, I'm excited to discuss Hands of... I couldn't even say it without laughing. No, let's talk about Hands of Stone.
I'm really not excited to talk about this film. All right. Well, with all that being said, let's get into it. So the film opens with a boxing match, and we get our De Niro face reveal virtually immediately. Mike, did you note when the De Niro face reveal was?
Well, no, because I couldn't, because I watched this movie on Netflix's mobile app on my iPad, and unfortunately, it only shows you the time remaining. Do they not think that people watching films might want to know how much time has elapsed? But it's somewhere around the 1 minute mark after the opening titles.
I had to rent this movie because you can't watch it on the ad-free Netflix tier.
Really?
Apparently there are some content limitations on the ad-free Netflix tier. Yep, which is the one that I have, or on the ad supported Netflix tier rather. So I can find out when it was. It is exactly 1 minute. Yes.
Perfect.
That's amazing. That's amazing that you were right on that. Like just with a guess, it is literally at the 1 minute timestamp. Yep.
I mean, I did math. I did subtraction. You ever hear of it?
Oh, you didn't say that. You didn't say that you did the math. I acted like you were just guessing.
I didn't know it was important for me to say. I knew the film was 111 minutes long. Whatever. Please continue with your recap.
No, I'm going to ask you again. Anyway, we get the De Niro. We get the De Niro face reveal virtually immediately. You want to just leave this in as it is? That's kind of funny too, honestly.
Jesus Christ, man. Okay, sure. It happens at 1 minute exactly.
All right, great.
It's the one note I took, by the way, was my estimated time. So I'm excited to do the rest of this blind.
After his face is revealed, he walks out into the space, on the sidelines, the space between the front row and the ring, and watches the match. We hear him narrate. Ring sense is an art, a gift from God that flows out of a fighter like a painting flows out of an artist. And I noted here, and I felt it throughout the whole film, this film has some kind of interesting cinematography. It does interesting things with color grading and with shot framing, and I feel like this first scene already has some pretty good cinematography. Did you take note of that as well?
I mean, mentally, because I didn't take any written notes, but
course,
yes, this film has some interesting flashes of style. You can tell they actually put effort into the cinematography and music in a way that was endearing, but also kind of frustrating.
Well, it's in service of what? Like,
yeah,
right?
Well, I guess it remains to be seen.
Yeah, I suppose so. And I wrote, because I didn't read anything about this film before I watched it, I guess this is a fight featuring this guy named Rodrigo Duran. I think this is a biopic. So man. There you go. It is a biopic.
We say that after we roll the films, we'll say a little blurb about it. So
I know, but I don't remember it.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember it?
I mean, I think I remember the one sentence description that we said.
I don't think that I have ever remembered while starting to watch a film the subsequent week what we said about it when we rolled it the week before. Like that's like I don't commit that to memory. I'm just like I'm just rolling.
The Men in Black come in and neuralize you after every podcast recording.
Okay. So anyway, after the fight, De Niro goes into the locker room and starts talking to another gentleman. So now I'm going to say what the people's names are. So De Niro's character is named Ray Arcel, and his interlocutor in this conversation is a gentleman named Carlos Ileta. So this other guy, I don't really understand what his role is, honestly. Like, I guess he's like a manager, like a promoter or something. Like, what is his role in Rodrigo's life?
I think he's a manager.
He's like his manager. Yeah. So he's Rodrigo's manager, and he cautions De Niro that he really should not want to work with Rodrigo because he's just not going to be easy to work with, essentially. And it is revealed by Arcel in this discussion that he is a fighter trainer of some renown, a boxing trainer, and he really, really wants to train Rodrigo. He thinks he's like the best fighter he's ever seen. And Ileta suggests that they might have some difficulties making payment terms work, and Arcel says that he'll train him for free. Duran comes back into the locker room, and he's immediately a huge dick to Robert De Niro. He says he doesn't need any help from America, and Arcel gets kind of like a little pissy about this and says, "I know," and excuses himself. And Ileta and Duran argue over whether Duran should have taken the meeting in earnest with Arcel. I was still pretty confused at this point about what was going on in the film.
Okay.
I'll talk about why I was confused in a few moments. So we flash back to 1964 in Panama, near the Panama Canal. I think it said like the Panama Canal Zone or something like that. We get De Niro narration that the Panama Canal Zone was a U.S. territory in spite of it being in Panama. And we see a scene of some Panamanian dude climbing up a flagpole to take down the U.S. flag. And we see him shot by some kind of concussive round, and he falls from the flagpole. Duran, as a child, was there watching. Oh.
He was the one kid at this riot. I don't know if little kids should be at riots.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's like an orphan, I think, isn't he? So anyway, yes, Duran was there. He's supposed to be like an orphan.
He has a mom.
No, that's right. He has a mom,
dad.
but that's right. His dad is a deadbeat, but I guess he's just very, very poor and probably not well looked after.
Well,
which probably has some similarity, I guess, in terms of like how a child behaves to being an orphan, I guess.
Probably.
Right? He's like just totally free range with like no money and probably malnourished and like
listen, man,
not making the best decisions.
Back then in Panama in the 60s, you know, they didn't have helicopter parents. You could run around barefoot outside. You could hang out with your friends. Not like today.
You could become a boxer when you're like 7 years old.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
So anyway, child Rodrigo runs away, and we see him climb a tree and take some mangoes. And as he is absconding with his stolen mangoes, we see some American GIs chase him, and he wades out into the ocean. And we see him running with his stolen mangoes through an urban area where more riots are happening. And he arrives at home. His family, his mom, and I think 2 siblings are hiding under a bed from the riot action outside. And his mom asks him if he stole the mangoes, and he lies and says no. She really doesn't want him to have stolen them. We see him bring the rest of the mangoes to some other people he knows, other neighborhood kids, and an older guy who mentors them. This guy is a pretty important character. His name is Chafflin, maybe Chafflin. And they go out into the streets at night, and there's a celebration happening. And I don't really understand what they were celebrating, honestly. Do you? Because they were rioting earlier that day. I don't think anything changed.
Didn't really seem like
I don't know anything
detail.
about. I don't know anything about Panamanian history. Like, I think I vaguely knew that pre that treaty, the Panama Canal was owned by the U.S. I think the only reason why I know that is because it's been kind of a political topic in the United States over the past year and a half during the second Trump administration. But I don't think I knew that before it became a newsworthy topic. Do you know anything about Panamanian history?
No, this film inspired me. It made me want to learn more, much in the way The Mission made me want to learn more about the plight of the Jesuit priests in, was it Guatemala?
I don't remember. Did you learn more?
No, not yet, but it's on the bucket list, man. It's on my bucket list.
I mean, when we did the Mission episode, it was your recap, and I came with all that detail about something that I'd been inspired to research.
Yeah, and I learned those things from you. Thank you.
No, I'm saying you could have done a kind turn in return by doing your little bit of reading about Panama before we did this episode, so you could share that context.
Why would I do that and deny the citizens of De Niro Nation the opportunity to hear another Red Lights style recap from Mike the Fab?
Fair enough. That's a really good point. Yep. Well, whatever. Who cares? So we see Rodrigo go to a boxing gym, and there's a trainer there, and he asks the trainer to train him. He starts training, and we see him win a fight. He gets some prize money. He shares it with his friends. He shares it with the Chafflin gentleman. But as they're leaving with the prize money that he'd won, we see some American GIs come and try to steal his money. I mean, I shouldn't say try to steal his money. They steal his money.
They do steal
but
it,
he almost escapes by punching one of the guys in the balls, but does not escape. And they catch him, steal the money, and he ends up going to jail.
Throw him in the brig.
Throw him in the brig. His trainer from the gym comes and bails him out, but tells him he has to stay out of trouble or he'll bring him back to jail himself. We get a montage of him training, and it's interspersed with clips of him fighting as an adult, which I kind of liked, honestly. I think that's a fun thing to do during a flashback montage, is to like kind of show like two different time periods and two different states of a character. Like you're like seeing what they're working to become at the same time as you see them becoming that thing. Oh, that was nice. There's some artful stuff in this film.
Yes, I agree. I think that you could tell that, is it Jonathan Jakubowicz?
Yes.
You could tell that Jonathan Jakubowicz, who wrote and directed this film, cared. You know, this isn't late De Niro slop in the way that many of his films of this era are. Is it successful? I don't know if I'd go that far, but you could tell that he's trying, and I really do respect that. There is attention put into the cinematography and just how it looks and how it's edited, for better or for worse. I'll have some more thoughts on that later.
Certainly true. And we see that he's always liked sweets, which is more important than you'd think it would be in the plot of the film. So now we see that it's 1971. So this is the point where I really started to become very confused. This is not going to be a red light style recap. I read the Wikipedia article about the actual human being. So like I understand what happened. But here's what I was confused about. It's always Edgar Ramirez playing him at all these different ages. Edgar Ramirez is 49 years old. Oh my God, I nailed this shit. I wrote all throughout my recap. I was like, he just looks 35 for this entire movie. He was basically 35 years old when this was filmed. It is brutal. And so this was when I got super confused. I got really confused about the timeline, because the thing that happens after the flashback ends is supposed to be, I think, a different time in his life than like the opening part that we saw him with.
Yeah.
But like he just looks the same. And so I was trying to figure out like, how does this all fit together? I don't know. Like it just didn't work for me having Edgar Ramirez at like in his mid to late 30s play this character at, I think in this scene in 1971, he's probably supposed to be 15 years old. At 15, hitting on Ana de Armas, and then in his early 20s, as he's like, becoming a more successful fighter or whatever, into the portion of the story that's in like the mid 80s or whatever, when he's supposed to be like, I guess, closer to the age that Edgar Ramirez is. Like, I don't know. I think Edgar Ramirez was too old to cast for this role, honestly.
The real Roberto Duran was 20 years old in 1971, so it's a little more believable than 15. But yes, I think that the film does not successfully accomplish de-aging him for those scenes when he's a young adult in his early 20s. It's more believable later in life when he's in his 30s, and then I think it's implied like 40, whatever. They add some facial hair to him, they change it up. It's easier to understand then, but they do say the years during each period.
I know, I wrote the year. I know the year.
So what was confusing about it, if you knew, like, okay, he was a kid in the 60s and now it's 71.
That's what I was confused about, that I was trying to figure out, like, how does this all fit together? This guy looks like he's 35 years old.
Yeah.
It was very disorienting for me.
Do you think that if we were in a big budget motion picture, or I guess medium budget, this only had a $20 million budget, that they could successfully de-age us to look like we were 20 again?
No, I think that they should have cast a different actor to play him at that stage of his life.
Yeah. I
don't blame the technical people. Like, I think it couldn't be done well in 2016. Like, I think they just needed to cast two actors for this role.
We didn't have deep fake technology back then.
Or cast one young actor and age that person up. I think that's easier to do than de-aging. Like, you make up some wrinkles on the person's face, like you do a little bit of CGI aging. I think CGI aging looks realer than CGI de-aging.
Yeah. We have FaceApp
easier
now,
to add wrinkles. With that. Like, yeah. Anyway, that was a struggle for me. Okay, but whatever, it doesn't matter. What I wrote about this was he's a teenager now, or maybe a young adult. Got to be supposed to be young adult, but he looks 35. Like that was my take on it in this part of the film, and I nailed it. Like, He's and we see him hitting on Ana de Armas. Her character's name is Felicidad. I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced.
Ana de Armas, be still my beating heart.
I gotta be honest.
Oh, please do.
This film,
I love it,
is the hottest I have ever found her.
Really?
Do you agree?
No.
Oh yeah. Yep. Oh yeah.
I don't.
Yep. What's the film that you found her the hottest in?
Honestly, I haven't seen that much of her work. I think she's in some films I wouldn't really care for. So I would probably say Blade Runner 2049 when she's the sexy hologram lady.
No, this is much hotter to me than that.
But in this film, she's Ana de Armas, but with dyed blonde hair.
Yeah, I just thought her outfits were really fun, and
Sure.
I thought she was a fun character.
Oh, yeah, she
it
looked
really,
super
it really
hot in
enhanced it for me.
Yeah, it's Ana de Armas from 10 years ago. Absolutely. I don't think the blonde look suits her particularly well. I much prefer seeing. Listen, she's a Latina with brown hair and green eyes, and I've gone on record saying this before, but I'll say it again for the great citizens of De Niro Nation. I 100% believe, I'm a Latino. I'm half Puerto Rican. I sincerely believe that if I had green eyes or was 6 feet tall, I would currently be president of the United States.
Fair enough. I don't disagree.
I think I would be unbeatable. I'd be like a Thanos level threat to civilization if I just had green eyes or was 4 inches taller.
I mean, that's why,
God had to
that's
nerf
why
me.
God didn't do that, right? Like, yeah, he had to nerf you. Exactly. Yep.
He's like, oh God, he's like, this guy's ego is going to be big enough already.
So none of the specifics of what happened in the scene are really particularly important. We're just establishing that he is a very smooth talker.
Very pushy in the way that you could be during that time period, that nowadays, if you did look like anyone other than Edgar Ramirez, you'd have the police called on you.
He looks incredibly handsome in this movie.
He's a handsome guy. He got, this is one of the things about boxing films that I bet makes them so attractive to actors is you get paid to get in incredible shape, like the best shape you'll ever get. And I would love to be like cast as a boxer for some boxing movie, because they would just pay me a shit ton of money to eat super clean and
to
work
train,
out like 5 hours a day and get jacked. I would fucking love that. And then I would just have pictures of my shirtless self on the movie poster, and I would just kind of stand near a poster
It is fun.
in New York City at the subway station, and I would just kind of point. I'd be like, that guy is pretty shredded. Oh my God, that is me. That is so, thank you for noticing. I don't have green eyes though. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, you could wear those contacts,
That's true. Those always look so fucking
and you
weird.
You could get the leg lengthening surgery like
no,
Pedro
thank
Pascal
you.
and
Thank you.
Materialists. Yep. Spoiler alert for Materialists.
Don't worry, I'll never watch that film. I pray to God you never recommend that bullshit on the podcast.
Oh my God, I should recommend it today. That would be so funny. I would never though, because that movie fucking blows. So
Damn.
there you go.
It's a little mini review for Mike the Fab.
So that's what happens there. And we kind of get the impression in the scene with them, like she's outwardly not interested in him. She's rebuffing his advances, but we can tell, she's making some eyes. Like, she's kind of attracted to how pushy he is and the fact that he looks like Edgar Ramirez.
I think looks like Edgar Ramirez is doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. I think if you or I accosted her in the same way when she's walking home from school at 18 years old, she might not be so favorable towards us.
It's tough to say, honestly. I think that if you were really charismatic about it like he is, I think that unless you were like a real uggo, I think it would make an average looking or better than average looking man probably more attractive to be like a little pushy in that way if you weren't creepy about it. Don't you think? Like you're putting yourself out there, you're showing you have self-confidence. Like he's not rude or anything. He's just assertive. Probably makes you more attractive.
That's
I would
true.
think.
Yeah. Listen, there's only one way to test this. So citizens, if any of you out there has Ana de Armas's home address, please send it to Mike@OurHeroDeNiro.com, and we'll take the hit on Ana de Armas as she walks out of her house to her car challenge.
I think if you looked like a thumb, then I think the assertiveness probably makes you more or less attractive. But I think if you look like us, we're pretty normal looking guys. He's very charming in the scene. I think it would probably make you more attractive. So we see. All right, hold on. I'm trying to understand what's happening in the narrative now. Okay, so we are still pre the in media res opening in the narrative at this point. So we see we see his trainer.
Oh my God!
Bring Aleta to meet him, and his trainer says to Aleta that he knows that Rodrigo is really, really good, and he really wants to make him the boxing world champ. Then we get another flashback. So this is to 1953, and this is De Niro, Arcel.
It's like the Batman Begins of boxing films.
It's the narrative. Listen, we'll get to this in our final thoughts. To me, this film has 3 kind of critical flaws. And one of those flaws is there's just way too much shit going on in this film for it to be less than 2 hours long.
Yes,
we don't like really long movies here. But listen, this is obviously an important person in history. I don't care about him at all, but I'm sure a lot of people do. And he seems like a really important guy, and like he's had a very rich life with a complicated story, probably worth telling. I think you probably make this one 2.5 or 2 hours and 45 minutes long. Like you can make it an epic. This is like a very important person in modern sports. I really don't understand why this film is so short.
It's trying to cover so much, both chronologically and just in terms of just life events. It's not particularly focused, and I don't think you could do what Jakubowicz is trying to do in under 2 hours and 20 minutes. Like it's just not possible.
Yep, I agree. You need this movie needed more space. They really should have made it longer, and it's really flawed. But like, there's a lot of great stuff in this film. Like. It could have been good. Probably making it 45 minutes longer would have been enough to make it significantly better if they just had more room to like let these characters and these relationships and these events breathe a little bit. So anyway, another flashback, and we get De Niro narration that in the 50s, he wanted to make boxing a big sport everybody knew about, but the players, mob players, didn't want it outside of New York. We meet one of those players, John Turturro. His character's name is Frankie Carbo. Which I think is a real person, but I find that a pretty funny name, honestly.
It's a pretty good name.
He's not still alive, is he? He's not going to like come kill me. Oh no, thank God he died in 1976.
It,
okay. Yeah, he's been dead for 50 years.
His character is like 55 years old in 1971.
He's played by 50-year-old John Turturro in 1951 or 1953 or whatever year we're in right now. So De Niro tries to spread boxing outside of New York, and as a result, the mob puts a hit out on him. The hit fails, and in order to save his skin, De Niro, Arcel, agrees that he will not take any more paid engagements in boxing. So he's not going to be involved with boxing anymore, essentially in return for the mob sparing his life. Back in the current day, which is 1971, we see Arcel talking to his wife, and she suspects he's trying to get involved with boxing. He says it's worth risking his life because he may as well be dead because he isn't doing anything of meaning. And she says that's a real nice thing to say to your wife, and he says...
And his wife, played by the great Alan Barkin.
Oh, yeah, thanks for saying so. How did I not mention that when I mentioned her being in the film before? Yes.
One of those mysteries.
She's quite nice in this film. Yeah, one of life's beautiful mysteries.
She has what is essentially a bit part in this film, but she's good. She's always good.
Yeah, I love her. We see Arcel training Rodrigo. They're running drills, and Arcel is explaining stuff to him. He explains about strategy. Strategy is comprised of tactics, but what's most important is strategy. You can falter on your tactics as long as your strategy stays intact and everything you're doing is in service of that strategy. You can still win. And I noted here, De Niro's kind of receding hairline, like male pattern baldness that he has in this film, it makes him look so much older than he looked in Killers of the Flower Moon, even though that film was filmed like 6 years after this. Did you feel the same way?
They actually, to your point earlier, they did a good job of aging him up. He looks substantially older than in other films that came out from around that time.
Yep. He's quite good in the role. I really enjoyed him in this film.
Oh, no, I thought he was great in this film. And he has a lot of screen time, too. He's a substantial figure in this film's narrative. It's very much a film about how Duran and Arcel changed each other's lives, influenced each other. Again, was the film successful in that? We'll talk about it in the final ratings, but he's given a hefty chunk of screen time, and I think he commits to the role.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Sure.
This is going to be very funny. You're going to really enjoy this when I say it. Was his name Roberto? I've been calling him Rodrigo in my notes and through the entire recap, but I just looked on Wikipedia and it says his character's name is Roberto. Was that the guy's name?
Yeah. His character's name's a real person.
I've just, this real person in history. I've said his name wrong 20 times already in the recap.
Oh,
that's really fun.
Was this guy's name Tiger Woods? Because I've had it written as Lion in my notes the entire time.
I don't know how I fucked that up. Roberto.
This is just really going off the rails.
Shades of red lights. So we're seeing kind of an interspersed montage of him doing training with De Niro, but also chasing after Ana de Armas. She invites him to walk with her. And he shares a little bit of stuff with her about his life, and she asks him if he can read, and he doesn't answer, from which she surmises that he cannot read. And so she rejects him because they come from, quote, different worlds. And he says, They've been speaking Spanish this whole time. He says in English, it's all in the head, which is what De Niro has been teaching him, which works for some reason at rebuffing her rejection. And so they get together. Not really sure why that worked.
I don't really understand why that line played so well with her. She has a,
she doesn't make any sense.
She's like a rich, educated girl, and he's from the other side of the tracks, and she thinks to herself, probably not a great idea to hook up with this guy. But saying one line in English was all it took to seduce her. So there you go.
And for what it's worth, and I think this is another thing that I struggle with. So looking at this guy's Wikipedia article, it doesn't have a lot of stuff about his personality or his personal life, but he doesn't sound like a bad guy. Like when you just read the story of his life, as depicted in the film, he's kind of a huge piece of shit. Did you agree?
Yes, they definitely, Jakubowicz imbues the script with a pretty conventional arc, which I think kind of does a disservice to the character. I think the film is most interesting when it is about Panamanian history, the class struggle,
I agree.
That sort of background that Duran faced. And it gives us that traditional Hollywood rise and fall kind of arc. And it's just not that interesting because we've seen it so many times before.
Yeah. And I feel like the fact that the character sucks so much ass, it really it diminishes the impact of the class commentary and like the commentary on Panamanian history and stuff. Because I really wanted him to lose like every fight for the whole movie, honestly. Like he's a really nasty guy. He is very dishonorable and very rude. He's super unsportsmanlike. Like he just seems like a huge fucking asshole. And every time he won, I was pissed.
Yeah, there's a moment where I had that thought. I'm excited for you to get to it. I'll mention it when it happens.
So we see him take Ana de Armas back to his apartment, and she's put off by how gross and shitty it is, but they kiss anyway. To your point, like the film does not do a very good job of conveying why, in spite of the fact that she had totally like well thought out, reasonable objections and seems to constantly be rebuffing him at every turn, they end up getting together. Like the film does not do a very good job of explaining why she made that choice.
Well, it's only 111 minutes long, so what can you do?
True. Yeah, we kind of add 45 minutes. We probably could have gotten a little better sense of this. Back in New York, John Turturro, Frankie Carbo, confronts De Niro for being back involved with boxing. He defends himself by saying he's training him for free. That was the rule. He can't make money, and encourages Carbo to bet everything he's betting on this upcoming fight on Duran. And if Turturro wins money, he lets De Niro go. And if he loses, he gets to kill him.
And do you really think the mob would approve of this loophole? Do you think they approve of loopholes in general?
I don't know. I think probably yes, honestly, because I think that Carbo likes him.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think that it's pretty personality based, right? Like, I don't know anything about Frankie Carbo. I didn't read about him, but I'm guessing he's a pretty big deal, given the stuff that he's involved with. And so, like, if you're a captain, or something, like, I would assume your personal discretion would carry a lot of weight. So I think if you were doing some shit that was going to piss the mob off, I think you probably benefit a lot from like being buddies with somebody who's got some power, who can like maybe sway like a little bit of unfair treatment toward you.
Do you think they should have had more scenes with Frankie Carbo?
I think they should have had more scenes with literally everybody, man. Like,
yeah,
I think that like everything should have just been expanded by like 35 to 40%. I think that would have made it a much better movie.
I think if they added more scenes with Frankie Carbo, they would have called it carbo loading.
You just wanted me to say something to tee that up for you?
Yeah.
I love carbs. We see Roberto and Ray give a pre-fight press conference where Ray talks about how the sport has become sterile and lifeless, and Duran is going to breathe new life into it. We see Felicidad, Ana de Armas, sneak back in her house to watch the fight on TV with a servant. And we get the title card, Duran versus Buchanan, 1972. Roberto loses the first round, and in between, he gets into an argument with Ray about whether to listen to his advice, but ultimately he relents and wins, and everybody is really excited. We see a montage of Roberto and his girlfriend banging, and then the next scene, they have a baby. He keeps fighting. They have another baby, 1973, 1975, 1977, more babies, more fights. He names every child Roberto. You want to know something?
What?
That's true.
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be? It's a biopic.
Oh, that's right. They said it in the card. They said it in the card at the end too. Well,
why do you
watching
think that's
it, I
something they
assumed
would
that would
embellish?
be. I don't know, because it's silly. I thought it could be an embellishment. Who names all of their sons the same name? I've like never heard of somebody doing that.
Do you know who? George Foreman.
Is that true?
I'm pretty
Are
sure.
George Foreman's sons, like multiple of them, named George?
Yeah. Yeah, there's George Foreman 3, Georgetta Foreman, George Foreman 4, George Red Foreman 5, George Foreman 6. Yeah. Yeah, he did that. And of course,
That is fucking deranged.
George Foreman Jr. How could I forget?
What?
Yeah. I
I
think,
never knew that.
I think there's some ego at play when you're like that kind of athlete, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but like your name isn't about that at all. It's like, I don't know, they're going to be your kids. They're genetically going to be like probabilistically disproportionately likely to be pro athletes, and you can guide them toward that. Like, I don't know that really naming them after you has any bearing on that at all. I don't know.
Take it up with George Foreman and Roberto Duran.
I suppose so. Yep. We see him sponsoring a school or maybe some kind of school event or something. It's kind of establishing that he's a man of the community. And we see them watch on TV as the U.S. and Panama sign a treaty wherein they agree that in 25 years, in 1999, so this is Jimmy Carter and whomever the president of Panama was at the time, something you'd know if you'd done your reading about Panamanian history before we recorded this episode.
I didn't realize it was on me to do supplemental research for your fucking recap.
Well, I don't actually care. I just think it's funny that like you felt interested in it, but you didn't do it before we did the episode. It's like deep in your Wikipedia backlog.
Listen, man, I read a lot of Wikipedia, but so much of that time percentage-wise is devoted to reading about deadly plane crashes and devastating earthquakes.
I never read about that kind of stuff.
And the Wikipedia page
It
for
sounds
Google.
interesting though. Yep, I've read that one. So Felicidad, she's not excited about the treaty, and Roberto accuses her of being too rich and out of touch to feel good about it like he does. But she really schools the fucking shit out of him and responds that the reason why she's not excited about it is because it sucks, and they get to keep the canal for another 25 years, which I think is a pretty good argument. It does sound like a really shitty treaty, honestly.
I think we should call it the American Canal.
She picks up a magazine and shows him the fighter whom she thinks he needs to fight is on the cover, but he can't read, so he can't see what any of it says. The cover of the magazine says that he's Fighter of the Year and the symbol of American sports, a gentleman whom I had never heard of named Sugar Ray Leonard.
You've never heard of Sugar Ray Leonard?
Nope.
Interesting. I feel like he's one of those boxers who broke containment and became just like like Ali or George Foreman.
Yep.
You know, just like broke containment and became famous.
I assumed that it would be Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Like just in the narrative. Like that's who I thought it was going to be because I know about him, obviously. You know what, though? He sounds like a great fucking guy. I read about him a little bit. He seems really cool.
Yeah. This is the character played by Usher, which is, I think it's worth commenting on. You said you liked Usher in this film, and so did I. He brought a really nice, easy, natural charisma to the role. He was fucking shredded. You know, Usher always keeps it tight, though, because he's dancing on stage and doing all that shit. Yeah, you know, while he's like doing backflips and shit.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite Usher song?
It's probably X3, man.
Yeah, I think it is.
That was
I think
really
it is.
good.
It's got to be. It's a really fun one. You got all the different guest features.
It's a
and
great
you got,
tune. Are you
get
kidding
to
me?
yell
It's so
that
good.
when you're waiting in line at the McDonald's drive-thru. Yeah. I'm going to get some chicken McNuggets. Yeah.
Usher seems like such a cool guy, and he has like almost unbelievable riz in this movie. Like he is like everybody in this film like looks really good and like seems pretty cool for the most part, but like he is the coolest one by far. Like this guy seems awesome.
Yeah. Do you think we should have had a Sugar Ray biopic instead of Roberto Duran?
Yes. So I'm going to call him Leonard, by the way. It just seems simpler since we already have a character named Ray. So I called
Okay.
him Leonard
Yeah.
in my notes. That's his name. It's Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want me to
okay.
call him Sugar Ray and then call the other guy Arcel?
No, that's fine because I think that if you say Sugar Ray in the recap, people might confuse him for Mark McGrath of the band Sugar Ray.
It's true. Yep. You mean Sugar Gay.
I swear to God, I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it up during the recap. For those who don't know, Mike was not being homophobic right there. That is reference to an ancient comedy YouTube video. It was actually recommended to me in my feed
When
just
you
a
say
few
a
days
comedy
ago.
YouTube video, it implies that it's a joke. It's an actual
it's
clip
a real,
of Mark McGrath.
event. Yes.
Yep.
Mark McGrath, the lead singer of the popular 90s band Sugar Ray. I'll insert a clip
Great
of that
band.
one song everyone knows right here.
Every morning there's a halo hanging from the corner of my girlfriend's four-post bed.
He's like walking at night and he's being hounded by paparazzi and he's like signing autographs and stuff and everyone wants to take pictures of him. And one of the paparazzos in the back, this young guy, calls him Sugar Gay.
Sugar Gay! Who's that Sugar Gay? I'm beating your fucking ass!
And he loses it. He's clearly totally fucked
Really,
up.
he's wasted in some
He's
way.
so-
Yep.
And he gets in the guy's face. He's like 6 inches taller than this guy, and he gets like 1 inch away from him, and he's just threatening to beat the shit out of this guy. And the guy's
Say
totally
it again.
Yeah, the guy's totally stone faced, and he's like, I didn't say anything, and he loses it for like 5 minutes. It's so funny. We'll have to link to it in the supplemental
smallest
links.
defense. What an incredibly undignified way to react to that. It's like not even that mean of a thing to say. Like it's like so stupid that it's like a joke. To get really angry about it is super embarrassing.
It's really funny.
I really like Sugar Ray. Do you like Sugar Ray?
I really only remember that one song.
I really liked Falls Apart, Every Morning, Someday, Banger. Like those are like some great like mid to late 90s like kind of tropical like sunny vibe alternative song pop music. Like that's really nice 90s music. Makes me feel nostalgic.
Yeah. I avoid nostalgia, but maybe I'll listen to some Sugar Ray tonight in honor of Mark McGrath in this episode.
It's okay to let yourself feel nostalgia. We agree that it's a toxic impulse, but like you can allow yourself to feel it. It's a very enjoyable emotion. You just can't let it cloud your judgment or decision making. Like nostalgia is bad because it makes people think things like, things were better in the past and the ways that they were bad have become like harder to remember. You can still let yourself feel the feeling. It's fun to feel.
It's a lot like masturbation. You don't want to nostalgia goon.
I do want a nostalgia goon. I don't think it's hurting anybody. I'm going to listen to Sugar Ray tonight.
Wow. Oh, yeah, I believe that too.
It's definitely going to happen. I'll send you a link to every single Sugar Ray song I listen to. You're going to
Mike
get a
the
lot of texts from
Fab
me
is
tonight.
going to go to bed at 8:45 p.m. with a cup of warm milk and the best of Sugar Ray playlist on Spotify.
Yeah, this is Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm listening to tonight. Roberto has a fight with Ray about Leonard, and we see him go up to the U.S. to meet Leonard, and he just starts talking shit immediately. He like makes a homophobic comment. He says a misogynistic slur about his wife, and Ray gets really, really pissed about it. And Duran apologizes to Ray, but refuses to apologize to Leonard.
So this was the moment for me in the film where I thought, wow, Duran seems like a real piece of shit here. Like I think he's the antagonist in this film because Sugar
Right.
Ray seems
It's
totally
so
cool.
weird.
He's just like chilling with his family, his wife or whatever. He's all smiley.
They're all
he's
at dinner
usher.
together. It seems like
Right.
a really nice family. Like, yeah,
And Duran's just like, I'm going to fuck you and then I'm going to fuck your wife until she fucking dies. It's like, whoa, man, what's going on here?
Hey, what is happening here? Like, I thought we were
this is just a job,
just
you know?
athletes here.
Yeah.
Then we see him in the next scene, also being just like a huge pompous douchebag at home with his family as well. Like the fame is really getting to his head. And I hated him for the rest of the film after this, just so you know. So like until like the last 5 minutes, like the kind of heel turn on the character. But as soon as that thing happened between him and Leonard, and I think they're like a McDonald's or something, like as soon as that scene happened, I was like, wow, this guy sucks. And then he basically sucks for the rest of the film. Like they don't really rehabilitate him in any kind of meaningful way until like it's probably less than the last 5 minutes of the film, honestly.
Yeah, he's firmly in his piece of shit era, and of course you have to have that if you're doing this sort of arc in a film. But yeah, it really comes out of nowhere, and he really loses touch with his upbringing from the streets. So yeah, he's a very frustrating character to watch.
He does, right? And I think this is why fundamentally I just don't really think that this works. Like, we're supposed to understand that the reason why he's such a big piece of shit is because he's got a huge chip on his shoulder against Americans because of the ways that he and people he cared about were mistreated by the American GIs kind of early in the kind of film's flashback narrative. But that stuff's really not featured prominently enough, nor do we see much of any specificity about his material circumstances or the material circumstances of people he cares about. And so I don't think you really empathize with his anti-Americanism. It doesn't do a very good job narratively of making you feel that way. So then, yeah, when he acts like super bigoted toward Americans, which is essentially what's happening here, right? Like, it's just like totally like amped up bigotry, essentially. It just reads like he's being a huge asshole. And the other thing that really doesn't make it work is that he really loves Ray, Robert De Niro's character, even though he's an American. So like the anti-American bigotry is like contradicted at every point because Robert De Niro is the second most important character in this movie and Roberto loves him. So like clearly he can see past his bigotry to have a relationship with this guy who's like a father figure to him, essentially.
These colors don't run.
All right, it's time for the fight between Roberto and Leonard. I wrote here, are we supposed to be rooting for him? He fucking sucks, which is really the way that I felt. It's 1980, and the fight goes for 15 rounds and is very close, and ultimately is decided by the judges. And we see as the judges are doing their deliberation, Roberto just grandstanding, like showboating, being a total fucking douchebag, and unfortunately he wins the match by just a couple of points. Like I think two of the judges favor him by like 1 or 2 points, and one of the judges favors him by 3 points, and so he wins by like, must be a margin of like 2% in the points or something like that.
And the movie ends.
Yeah, man, that wouldn't have been a very happy ending.
I mean, he's the protagonist of the film, so I don't know.
We see Ray at home with his wife, and the phone rings, and she picks up overnight, and the person on the other end of the line says Ray Arcel's daughter is in the hospital. And initially, she's a little argumentative. She says that Ray doesn't have a daughter, but we don't see it, but he must admit to her that he does. And so he goes to the hospital, and his adult daughter is there in the hospital bed, and she's really resentful that he's come and makes comments to him to the effect that he never paid attention to her when she was younger because he was too focused on boxing. And then we see him and his wife at maybe like a restaurant or something after this happened, whatever, interspersed with the clips of him in the hospital with her. And he's explaining how he had adopted her with a former wife, but when that former wife died, he fobbed their daughter off on his in-laws, which he now realizes was a mistake.
Do you have anything you want to say about the actress playing his daughter?
No, go ahead.
It's his actual daughter, IRL.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. That's nice.
His smacked out daughter is played by Drana De Niro, who is Robert De Niro's adoptive daughter after his marriage in 1976.
That's really nice. It's fascinating. She is not listed in the cast of the Wikipedia article.
Well, thank goodness I did my supplemental research for this episode. She's actually she's in a lot of De Niro films. I just haven't recognized her in any until this one because she actually gets some solid screen time.
Huh, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. I did not realize that. So we cut to Leonard. He is in Hawaii with his wife, and they are watching a clip of Roberto talking shit about them. He makes a phone call and asks for an immediate rematch. We get, I didn't write down the method by which this happened, and I don't remember. Yep.
I will say it is pretty funny being a sore winner the way that Roberto is. Where it's
he's a
like,
horrible guy.
He won the match, and he's still shit talking the guy that he beat. Like, move on, man. Move on to better things.
And all the stuff he's shit talking him about is like so stupid. Like the thing that he seems to have, I mean, the thing he has against Leonard is obviously just that he's American, but like his ostensible reason for really hating the guy is that he doesn't like the way he boxes. Like he moves around too much.
Yeah.
And it's like, You're a fucking lightweight, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that's like one of the things about being in a lower weight class of that kind of fighting is like being really nimble, right? Like, you sound like a moron. I don't know very much about boxing, but it strikes me as a really stupid thing to criticize a lightweight boxer for like being really agile.
Do you want to know? I actually did just a little bit of supplemental research for this episode about
Yep.
boxing weight classes, because
Okay,
they
tell me
comment
about
on
it.
how
Yep.
Duran is he's most prominently known, I think, as a lightweight boxer, but he also famously moved up and fought in the welterweight class. And I kept hearing these terms, and I thought to myself, I was looking at Edgar Ramirez, and I thought to myself, this guy has to be like 180, like 190.
Oh, there's no way
Right.
he's a lightweight. Like, yeah,
So-
he's a pretty big dude.
So I looked it up, and apparently, if we're looking at these weight classes, you have featherweight is up to 126 pounds, lightweight is up to 135 pounds, and welterweight is up to 147 pounds. And
That's
it stood,
so funny.
yeah, it stood out to me because as of 5 days ago, I weigh 146 pounds. And I was like, Edgar Ramirez and I do not weigh anywhere near the same amount. So, that's just Hollywood
very
magic.
different body types.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess it's fun knowing that I would be a welterweight if I boxed.
Yeah, I would describe Edgar Ramirez as like barrel chested.
Yeah.
Like, he's like a
He's
beefcake.
built.
He's a pretty big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that is really funny that he's a sore winner. That is really good. So I do not remember the mechanics of how this happens, and I didn't write it down, but somehow we get like a bunch of like conversation that is essentially exposition that if Duran agrees to do this rematch with Leonard, he will be paid $10 million, which would be the most that any boxer has been paid in history. And we see Aleta, who's his, I really haven't talked about him in a while. He's his manager or like promoter or whatever. He comes to a party that Duran is having at his house. He's really sauced, Duran is, and tells him about the fight and tries to get him to do it. But he gets really, really pissed. Roberto does. And around the time that he gets really, really pissed, the guy whom we talked about earlier in the film, Chafflin, his mentor from when he was a kid, jumps off the roof of like some like little gazebo or something next to his pool and lands in the pool. And Roberto gets a little bit wet and like flips out and like really toxically misdirects his anger at Aleta for coming and telling him about this fight toward Chafflin and kicks him out of his house, which will be very, very important in about a minute in my recap.
Yeah. He's really at his low point here.
They're all low points, man.
So it's
how
one.
is
It's like
someone-
a low valley. It's like a valley of points.
I mean, it's like your life is a low point if you are at your low point when you are at the top of your career.
Yeah.
Like he just
Yeah.
beat the best boxer in the world. How are you at your low point? Like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Oh, I hated him so much. Like it's really rough, man. He just seems like such an asshole. We see Roberto in Vegas, and his father comes to see him. We get a little bit of dialogue amongst them. It's kind of exposition dialogue, I guess. We had learned earlier that another big part of why Roberto hates Americans so much is because his father was an American. But it turns out he's a Mexican American, which Roberto seems a little put off by. I guess he imagined him being a little bit more stereotypically American. And it is revealed in this scene that he abandoned Roberto and his family when he was 14 years old. Then we see a scene of Chafflin stealing food from a patron at a restaurant, running, and then getting just fucking pancaked by a truck. RIP. He got turned to vapor.
This was another example of what we discussed in our 0 Day episode way back when in this podcast's history, where he's standing in the middle of the street looking back at the people who stopped chasing him, and out of nowhere, a semi-truck enters the frame, and only when it enters the frame does it make noise, and then it pancakes him. I hate that so much. I hated it in 0 Day. It's so lazy. It's so cheap. You can hear a fucking semi-truck driving down a quiet city street, and you also have peripheral vision, bitch. Oh my God.
I think he's supposed to be like maybe a little drunk.
Maybe. I don't know. I still didn't like it. I thought it was a particularly cheap moment in this film that I was somewhat soft on.
Oh, yeah, I definitely was not. In case you can't tell, I didn't like this film.
Yeah, man, I can tell.
By this point, I really wasn't noticing things that I didn't like because I didn't like it at all.
You're just in a white hot rage the entire time you were watching it.
I just couldn't understand, like, what am I watching here? Why is he such an asshole? Why did they characterize him this way?
I don't know. You got to talk to Jakubowicz about that.
I guess so. Yep. So the next morning, after the party, Rodrigo's wife finds him on the floor in a pile of random naked ladies, and she gets really pissed at him for that, and because Chaplin got killed the night before, which happened because Roberto kicked him out of his house. So he's been homeless. We see Ray and Aleta get into a fight about Aleta having signed him up for the fight with Leonard. And I should say, because I didn't say this explicitly earlier, he doesn't really agree to the fight in the party scene when Aleta comes to see him. Like, Correct. He's obviously drunk. Like, Aleta is like, he's really kind of playing very fast and loose with agreeing to the fight, air quotes, in signing him up for this. And the reason why Ray is really, really pissed is because Roberto is 40 pounds overweight for his weight class, and the fight is in less than 3 months. So he's going to have to lose 40 pounds in 3 months, which sounds impossible.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like it is actually physically impossible to do in a way that would not do serious damage to your body, especially if you were a pro athlete.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really bad idea.
Pretty impossible. Remember, folks, this was pre-Ozempic.
But even if you were taking a GLP-1, like, that's like a pound every day and a half. That's insane. Like, that's fucking crazy. Nothing could make you lose that weight safely. Like, that's so much weight.
Yeah, it's not good. Shouldn't have agreed to
it. Oh, really good shit. At the Panama Canal, we see Roberto tell Ray about how he met his father, and Ray tells him about the fight, and he's really pissed and goes over to Aleta's house and breaks a bunch of his fancy cars. But then he agrees to train. He calls his wife from home, and we get the sense in the scene that his wife left him after she found him in the morning after the party, but she still says she loves him at the end of the phone call. So they're clearly not broken up forever. Ray and Aleta go to see Leonard's performer, try to convince him to delay the fight, but the promoter is black and says he does not want to delay the fight because it's already hard enough for him to be the only black promoter in boxing, and they are going to laugh him out of the sport if he tries to do that.
Yeah, do you know who the promoter was?
No.
It was Don King. Do you know who Don King is?
Nope.
Yeah, he's another one of these very famous boxing or boxing adjacent figures. He was known for being involved in several very famous matchups. I think the most notable being the Rumble in the Jungle and the Thrilla in Manila. I think he was like notoriously corrupt also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, very interesting figure. He's dead now. So I guess historical figure. Oh, wait, no, he's not. He's alive.
R.I.P.
Don King is alive. He's 94 years old.
He's 94 years old. You were just assuming he was dead because he's old as shit.
You know,
but,
that's
there you go.
Thank goodness not only do I conduct supplemental research for your recaps, but I also conduct live fact checking on air. So you really have it good with me as your co-host.
I didn't talk a lot of shit when I did supplemental research during your mission recap.
Listen, man, we fulfill different purposes in the podcast, you know?
Yeah, what is your purpose?
Well, my purpose is not being racist.
I'm not challenging you. I just want to know how you describe it. My purpose.
Yep. Don't talk over me. A person of color is speaking. I was going to say my purpose is not being racist towards our Panamanian protagonist.
You think I'm being racist?
I'm going to give this film a 5 out of 5. Representation for my Latino brothers.
Just because it's about a Latino guy?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't think this movie's good, man. Like,
that's all it takes.
Let me be clear. I want to like him because he is, like an underdog figure, right? Like in history. But he's too much of an asshole for me to like him in spite of that. Like, I don't know. I don't have a problem with him for being Panamanian. I think he's a huge douchebag. He should be nicer to people and behave with a little bit more honor and decorum. Those things are important to me. I really like honor and decorum.
Yeah, so do I. I try to follow Bushido.
I know you do.
Like,
yeah,
so,
like
right.
That is like one of the big things that you and me have in common is our like obsession with that kind of shit, with like making sure people are acting the way they're supposed to act. He's just not my kind of guy. Like, he seems like someone who I would earnestly really dislike if I knew them in real life. Like, he's not my kind of guy. I think
get
you would
it.
really dislike him too, for what it's
Probably.
worth. Like,
Yeah.
But in spite of apparently Don King, whom I'd never heard of, not agreeing to delay the fight, we do see that Roberto is able to successfully weigh in at the end of the 73 days. At a pre-fight press conference, Roberto talks a lot of shit, but Leonard has realized, or at least he thinks he's realized, I'm not sure that I actually believe that this is what's really happening, that all of his shit talking is just part of Roberto's strategy. He's trying to get in his head. And so Leonard decides that he is going to get in Roberto's head. This is pretty smart, by just being really obsequious and kind and complimentary of him. So in spite of Roberto talking a lot of shit about him during the press conference, he's just like, he just says something that's essentially to the effect like, I am just so proud to be fighting against this guy who's just an incredible fighter, and it's just going to be a really great fight, which I think is that's classy behavior, you know?
It's
That's
really
high
smart.
class,
They go
decorous,
low, we go high.
decorous behavior. Yep.
Yeah.
And he is thrown off. We know because afterward we see him binge eating. We know, because it's been hinted at a few times throughout the story that he has a little bit of a disordered relationship with food, probably because he was so hungry when he was a poor kid, and accusing his wife of liking Leonard because she seemed happy about all the nice things that he was saying about her husband during the press conference, which is like the most deranged way to react to that. Like, she was obviously only reacting positively because he was being so complimentary of the person she actually likes. Like,
Yeah.
God, I hate this guy so much. Oh my God. So they have the fight, and he's totally in his head. And after a few rounds, he resigns from the fight and loses. And I wrote, yes, finally, with 7 exclamation points. I was so excited that
Damn.
he finally lost a fight. So this was the high point of the film for me. He tells the press from the ring that he's retiring from boxing, but Leonard, as is his way, acts really cool and magnanimous about the whole thing. We see Ray have a press conference afterward, and he takes responsibility for the loss. He says that when a fighter is in their head, like Roberto was, it's the trainer's fault, and that Roberto didn't leave the ring out of fear. He left it out of pride. We learn in this scene that whatever the governing body of boxing is, what is that called? I have no idea.
I
what that
don't
is.
know.
Whatever the governing body of boxing is considering suspending Roberto, and Ray makes an impassioned plea for them not to do so. And at the same time, we have some shots interspersed of an angry mob at Roberto's house. We see his wife come to visit him to encourage him, and he gets really angry at her and physically attacks her, and she leaves him. We're really close to the end of the movie right now, just so you know. The guy is still a huge piece of shit. Like, up
Yeah.
until like the very end of the narrative, how much of an asshole he is continues to escalate. Now he's like physically threatening his wife as she tries to support him.
The pacing is interesting.
Yes. As she leaves, someone comes over to tell them that whomever the president of Panama is, who is the one who negotiated that treaty with Jimmy Carter, has been killed. And for some reason, that makes her stay with Roberto. Doesn't really make any sense. Roberto tells his wife that his critics are right, that he abandoned his country by resigning from the fight, and that makes him just like his father, but now he wants to fight. He calls Ray to train him, but Ray doesn't want to. He suggests that he goes back to his old trainer because he's busy taking care of his daughter after her hospitalization. We see Ray go to see Carbo, John Turturro, during a montage of Rodrigo street fighting to get back into fit shape. Leonard comes to see Roberto sentimentally before the fight, and Roberto tells him to tell his wife he's sorry. So they're friends now. This is the last 6 minutes of the film. This fight that he's having is against some guy named Moore. Apparently it's his 32nd birthday, and I wrote here he looks 35, just like he did at the beginning of the film. Ray comes to sit ringside with his family. The fight starts, and initially he's getting his ass kicked, but eventually he wins. Ray is there, Leonard is there, and they're all celebrating him, and the movie ends. The end.
He had to go back to his roots, man. He had to go back to the streets.
I suppose so. Yeah, Mike, what did you think of this film?
I really wavered on my final rating for this film, but I think I have to give it a 2.5 out of 5. I think there are some things to like here and some very foundational, fundamental things here that don't work. I think overall it's a pretty solid, watchable, serviceable is the word I would use. It is a serviceable sports biopic that doesn't fully come together. for many of the reasons that we discussed earlier. I think what works here are Edgar Ramirez and Robert De Niro. He's not phoning it in. That's always nice in this era of his filmography. The fight scenes are engaging and grounded. And I do appreciate the cinematography. Like, the color grading was nice. There were interesting choices made. There is some flashes of style. You could see a better film breaking through the one that exists. What holds this film back to me is it feels so rushed and disjointed to the conversation we were having earlier. It's just, not only is it trying to cover too much ground time-wise, but it's trying to cover too many aspects of Duran's life. I think it would have benefited from either being longer and slower paced, or focusing the script a bit, narrowing it down and just focusing on some angles of his life instead of all of them together within 111 minutes. It was crazy. There wasn't a clear narrative focus, and I think the film suffered for it. It kind of felt more like a montage of this guy's life rather than a film, like a narrative film, if that makes any sense.
Was that the end?
Well, I thought maybe you would say something. Yeah, I said at the beginning, I give it a 2.5 out of 5.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's really interesting. That's the same score I'm going to give it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is kind of funny because I think I seemed in the recap like I hated it so much more than you did. I think that the things that I hated about it are more important to me than the things that you and me both liked about it are important to you. But I think ultimately, if I try to be reasonably objective and consistent with the rest of the ways I've scored films for this podcast, I think it is a 2.5 star film. I think you're right? There's a lot of stuff about it that's really good. The music is good. The cinematography is, in its worst moments, serviceable, and at some points, honestly, quite good. There's some really, really cool shots in this film. De Niro's performance is great. Ramirez's performance is great. De Armas's performance is great. All the performances are really, really nice. Like, it's a super competent film. I think fundamentally the issue is the script. I'm not sure if it was written to be paced in this way, or if these are decisions that were made from a production perspective, or what the reason is why this film is as short as it is, but it's way too short. It should be 45 minutes longer to have room for like things to actually be explored the way that they are. And I think kind of both within as well as as an overarching structural concept to the length of the film, the pacing is awful. Like, I've said this about films before where my recap has seemed like it kind of like zoomed to a close. I wrote my notes about this film in relatively consistent detail throughout. Like, how long I talked about stuff happening in the film is a pretty good representation of how long it was on screen. And you could be forgiven for thinking that wasn't the case, given how quickly it seemed like I breezed through the end of the film. But that really is just kind of the way it's paced. Like, he's just a total asshole. And then in the final 6.5 minutes, Leonard comes to see him. They make up in a way that is not explained at all. Like, we didn't see anything that it would explain this like change of heart on Roberto's part. And then he wins the fight, and then the film ends. The end. And it's like, why? Who watched this and was like, yeah, this is really working. Like, let's release it like this. We don't need to recut this at all. It's perfect. It conveys, the exact general sort of emotional trajectory that I would want a viewer to go on while they were watching this. And it totally doesn't collapse under the weight of its complexity trying to fit within its relatively short runtime. So, like, I don't know, just a really, really deeply flawed film where there's a lot of stuff to still love about it. So I'm going to go with 2.5 stars.
It's funny. I was really going back and forth between a 2.5 and a 3 out of 5 for this film. And you also giving it a 2.5 kind of makes me want to up my rating to a 3 out of respect for,
I think you should.
Jonathan Jakubowicz and the cast and crew of Hands of Stone. It was an entertaining film. It was engaging. It was totally serviceable. It just, it had some really major pacing flaws. But I was engaged the entire time I watched it. Half on the treadmill and half on my couch. It's no Red Lights. Now that, I kind of wish I had given Red Lights a higher rating. I'll rewatch it someday and do that on letterboxd.com/Mike back at you.
That is an example of you not being objective. Red Lights is so bad. You just gave it a high score because you enjoyed the ways it was bad.
So what?
Well, if that's the way we're rating things, then I'm going to give this shit fucking 1.5 stars. Because I hated it so goddamn much.
All that matters when it comes to Letterboxd ratings, or the ratings we do on this podcast, is internal consistency.
I think that you're agreeing with me. I think that anything can have internal consistency to you if it's emotional, because in your head, you can make your emotions make sense. But can you articulate a framework within which you gave Red Lights a higher score? Like, really? Think about what you're saying. I think you're actually agreeing with me.
We'll have to save it for our Red Lights Redux episode.
Oh, man. All right. Well, in any event, Mike, do you have anything to recommend in addition to Hands of Stone?
As a matter of fact, I do. I am genuinely excited about my pick this week. It's a film that you've seen before, so lucky you get to take a week off watching my recommendations. However, I think it's going to generate some really interesting discourse between us because I'm recommending the 2008 Darren Aronofsky film, The Wrestler, starring Mickey Rourke, and to a lesser degree, one of my favorite stand-up comics, Todd Barry. So I watched this film pretty recently within the last few months, and I saw on Letterboxd that you gave it a 2.5 out of 5. Now, I haven't given this film a rating yet. I haven't reviewed it on there, but it's definitely leaning, I'm going to be honest with you, 4.5 or 5 for me. I thought this film was...
I think that's nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited to hear why you didn't like it. I'm going to just, lay it out for the citizens of the Nero Nation. This film stars Mickey Rourke in a major comeback role. It's a fictional story about a former wrestling pro, professional wrestling pro who basically... We're following him as an aging wrestler who used to be famous, but now he's performing in these small venues. He's struggling financially. He's estranged from his daughter, and he's dealing with, all these issues like physical deterioration from his years in the ring, his loneliness, his strained relationships. And it's very much this story about identity. What happens when the only thing you're good at is destroying your body for an audience. I thought that it was a really gritty, raw, realistic film. I loved how it, compared to a film like Hands of Stone, Hands of Stone covers Duran's entire career and felt rushed, but The Wrestler focuses on one specific chapter of, this character's life, his decline, and slows down and lets those moments breathe. I thought that Mickey Rourke was absolutely phenomenal. And I really just appreciated how it was this intimate, raw character portrait that was all about the cost of being a fighter and not the glory. It was kind of an inversion of these sorts of sports films, and I really loved watching it. So I am actually really interested to hear why it didn't connect for you.
So here's my caveat. So I actually am going to have to watch it. I feel like more than usual, because you've made such an event out of us having this conversation. I really don't remember the film very well.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think I saw what year did it come out?
Oh, wait.
Oh yeah. So I saw that shit within the first 2 weeks that it came out. So I saw that shit in 2008, 18 years ago. I do not remember it very well. I did not like it at the time. I rated it from memory, a 2.5 on Letterboxd, but I saw it 18 years ago when I was 20 years old. So I may as well have been a totally different person, and it's completely possible that if I watched it now, I would feel totally differently about it. So it did not connect with me in 2008. I only saw it because it had a Bruce Springsteen song in it, but I will watch it again now. So there you go.
Hey, citizens, get out there and watch 2008's The Wrestler alongside Mike the Fab.
There you go. I'm going to go in a totally different direction with our recommendation today.
Can't wait.
Generally, when I watch a film like this that doesn't connect with me at all, I try to find a connection that someone associated with the project creatively has with it. And so here are a couple different things that occurred to me, right? To tell you some things that I considered. I considered The Batman. Because it has John Turturro playing a similar type of playing a similar type of mobster role in Falcone. Yep. I decided not to do that. I considered Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out story, because Ana de Armas is in the first one, so that made me think of it. And I know you haven't seen that third one, and I think it's really exceptional. So I think that you should watch it. It's a 4.5 star film. It's really, really good.
You wouldn't recommend the first one because she was in the first one?
Well, you've seen that one, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to be movies that, the recommendations for the citizens of the Nero Nation.
But here's something, listen, we reflected on this during episode 70, the recommendation station, okay? I really fucked myself during the first 69 episodes of this podcast by never thinking about whether you had seen something when I made a recommendation. And in fact, I often made a concerted choice to recommend things that we had both seen, so it could be a moment of like, harmony between us while we agreed that something should be recommended. No more, okay? No more. I am thinking about you now. I am thinking about recommending films that you have not seen. And so I'm not going to recommend that, just so you know. Actually, I'm going to completely contradict myself.
Hold on before we move on. That is so stupid for so many reasons. One, you already have so much difficulty coming up with recommendations for this podcast, even though it's one of the 4 segments we've been doing the entire time. 2, I make my recommendations for the citizens of De Niro Nation. It's not my fault that you haven't seen any movies ever because you've been too busy watching Ponyo 30 times.
Oh, you fucking roasted my ass.
And 3, I'm happy to rewatch films that you recommend. It's just I don't rewatch films a lot in general. But, don't let that deter you from a good recommendation on the off chance that you happen to think of one.
I don't want you to rewatch the films I recommend. You don't have to do that. That's not what I'm saying.
Whatever, man. You could have recommended.
The point that I'm making The point that I'm making is that you were able to very easily watch all of my recommendations because I think I recommended 13 movies that you hadn't seen, and I was not able to watch all of your recommendations because you recommended like 52 films that I had not seen.
That is not why. We had so long to do it. You chose not to do it during the first, 50 weeks of the podcast. When I mentally committed to watching all of your recommendations, that's the difference between you and me, by the way, besides the fact that I'm half Puerto Rican. When I mentally committed to doing it, it didn't matter if there were 13 films that I hadn't watched or 70. I would have done it just the same. That's the difference. You said you were going to try to watch all of them in the last 2 weeks before we recorded that episode. You're like, I'm going to have to watch one every single day between now and when we record. And then you just didn't do that. That's mental. That's on you.
That is, by the way, the difference between you and me. I will say I don't think that it's the only difference between you and me besides the fact that you're half Puerto Rican.
The only difference.
But I do think that those are really probably 2 of the big differences. I agree. That's just not my nature. I was never in a million years was I going to start watching your recommendations until 10 weeks before we recorded the episode. It was just never going to happen. It's just not the kind of person that I am.
Yeah, we have the proof in that recommendation station episode. But
Yes,
why don't you go ahead? Yep. Why don't you go ahead and tell me what you actually came up with?
No, you know what? Now I'm gonna recommend Knives Out because I think it's a good recommendation. Knives Out is a really good movie. I'm just gonna do it. You know what? You're right. Yep, it's a really nice movie. So if you haven't seen Knives Out are these goofy Netflix movies. They're directed by Rian Johnson, whom I used to think of as a peerless creative force in films until he made Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which is my second least favorite Star Wars movie after Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, the worst film ever made.
Yeah.
There are 3 of them. It's a trilogy now, and they're just these kind of like goofy, I guess, like mystery comedy films starring Daniel Craig as essentially Foghorn Leghorn. He's like, sort of Kentucky, Tennessee area, like deeply, thickly accented Southern man who's just a preternaturally insightful detective. It's a very odd role for Daniel Craig to play, and it really speaks to, I think, his versatility as an actor, how well he is able to play this role and also be like a really great James Bond. Isn't he amazing? I love Daniel Craig.
Sure. Which one of these films are you recommending?
Well, I'm going to recommend the first one because it has the closest thematic linkage to this film since Ana de Armas is in it.
Okay.
And it is the best one of them.
Okay.
But my secondary recommendation to you is that I think that you should watch Wake Up Dead Man because I think you'll actually like it better than the first Knives Out.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's really nice. It's got a little bit of a deeper plot, I think, than the first one. It's about like Catholic guilt and redemption. It's really nice. And what's his name is in it? The guy who's in the
mouse guy.
Challengers.
Yeah, the mouse looking guy.
Yeah. You think he looks like a mouse, Josh O'Connor?
Yeah, there was discourse about that. He looks like a cartoon mouse.
Yeah, he does kind of look like a mouse. That's funny. I never noticed that. And he's really, really good. He stars opposite Daniel Craig. They have great chemistry. And it's a very different type of role than I've seen Josh O'Connor play before. And it's just really, really nice. So my recommendation to the citizens of De Niro Nation is Knives Out. And my recommendation to you is Knives Out 3, Wake Up Dead Man.
Okay. I only ever watched the first one. Do I have to watch the second one too?
The second one's not that good. Yeah. The third one is a real return to form. Like it's really, really good. Do you like the first one?
Yeah, I liked it. I watched it. I watched it with you, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, we watched it together.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
I just don't remember what you thought of it at the time.
I thought it was quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite a good movie. I do think you'll like the third one better. It's really, really cool. Caroline and I had a great time watching it.
Okay.
It's just a little long. It's about as long as this film should have been, actually. I think it's 145 minutes long.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yep. So I guess now it is time to roll, right, Mike? And it's your roll this week, isn't it?
It was a long, winding journey getting here, and yes, it is. Hey everyone, Mike back at you, coming at you live from the Edit Bay with a quick update. When we did this segment, we forgot that we're actually rolling for 3 weeks from now. You see, next week we're going to do our Shark Tale re-review, and then the following week, Mike the Fab is going to lead our 80th episode spectacular. So the roll that you're about to hear is actually for 3 weeks from now after those 2 upcoming episodes. Okay, back to the roll.
It really was. This has been a pretty funny episode. I'm really excited to listen to it. Mike, what are you hoping to roll today?
You know, let's do it. Let's make it happen. I really want to roll number 31 in our list, Limitless. However, I also really don't want to roll any of the super long films that we still have. So there are a lot of potential landmines here. What about you, Mike?
I can't really decide. I just don't want you to roll one of the ones left that I really want to recap. So I guess I really don't want you to roll like The Godfather or The Deer Hunter. Yeah, there's a lot of really great ones that I'm hoping to be the one who recaps, so I just hope you don't roll one of those ones. Otherwise, I don't really care.
Okay, well, with that being said, I'm going to roll now. I rolled 28, which is, oh, wow. Okay, yeah. What, was that one that you really wanted to recap?
No, it's just you're so close to 31. Like, I just, like, it's right there. Honestly, you're so close to 29, too. Little Fockers. Like, I would love to get Little Fockers.
Well, what I actually rolled was the 2010 Robert Rodriguez film Machete.
Oh, God.
An American exploitation action film that is an expansion of a fake trailer published as part of the promotion of Rodriguez's and Quentin Tarantino's 2007 Grindhouse double feature. Machete continues the B-movie and exploitation style of Grindhouse. It had a $10.5 million budget and made $45.5 million at the box office and stars Danny Trejo, Steven Seagal, Michelle Rodriguez, Jeff Fahey, Cheech Marin, Lindsay Lohan, Don Johnson, Jessica Alba, and last but not least, Robert De Niro.
Don't love seeing him last on the list. I am going to hate this movie. So I'm pretty excited that you're the one recapping it, honestly. Like, I feel so strongly that I'm going to hate this movie that I am going to remember this conversation when we do the episode next week. Like, I'm committing. My tapes are running right now. Like, I'm going to remember this. I'm feeling an emotion strong enough to commit this to memory.
I'm also happy because it's only 105 minutes long.
That is nice. Yep. This movie sounds really bad. I'm super excited that you're the one recapping
it. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fun one.
I really love that positivity, man. That's really nice. I wish that I could have that attitude when I'm the one recapping a film that I'm really not looking forward to watching.
I'm all about the power of positivity.
You really are. You know what? You hate when I give you feedback, you know? And I think that part of the reason why you respond so negatively to my giving you feedback is that I feel like the way that I provide positive feedback, I think tends to be subtle. And I think sometimes you miss it. So let me take this opportunity to say, based on what you just said, that I honestly agree. I feel like for the past, 5, 6, 7 weeks, you have been really positive. You've been super positive.
It's weird. I honestly think it's just the fact that there's more sunshine these days.
Yeah, could be. Yep. I don't know. My mood is definitely affected by the weather, but I think actually one of the other really big important differences between us is that I am more affected by my positive emotions than my negative emotions, whereas I think you are the opposite. Generally, I don't know if my negative emotions really affect my behavior very much. It's like, it's just like a way that I am. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to it.
Sure.
Read us out.
Well, anyway. I don't know, man. I'm assuming you're not going to include. I'm assuming you're not going to include that in the edit. So I don't remember what the last thing you said was. That was just a conversation for you and me. Include it if you want to. Don't include it if you don't want to. So anyway. With that, I would like to thank you, loyal citizens of De Niro Nation, for joining us week in and week out on this this crazy journey. And of course, as I always do, and as you do 3 out of 5 times, I would like to thank you, my loyal co-host Mike, for truly being here with me week in and week out as we watch all of these wonderful films. I would like to thank my lovely and beautiful wife, Caroline, aka Bad Cree, for drawing our podcast art. And I would like to invite you to peruse all of our links at ourherodeniro.com and subscribe and rate us on your podcast platform of choice. 5 stars only. As we discussed recently, we did get a couple of scores lower than 5 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts recently, and it's been really hard, honestly, for us. So please, no more of that. Write us about literally anything at mike@ourherodeniro.com. And I think I speak for Mike, really, really look forward to you joining us next week as we discuss Machete, starring Robert De Niro. Thanks, everybody.
It's going to be a fun time.